can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your research?
Okay, I'm Domingo Barber. I work in a university in a School of Medicine in Madrid, Spain.
So what are your most recent projects then?
Our recent projects are connected to understand severity in allergy or the evolution to severe phenotypes in allergic patients. So by focusing on those severe allergic patients, we try to understand evolution and design intervention and prevention strategies.
Okay, can you describe your work towards the development of the first globally registered allergen immunotherapy treatments?
Okay, only in few words. Or no, I started to work many years ago in a small pharmaceutical company in Spain that later was introduced in a bigger group. That is EAACI, it's a Danish-based multinational pharmaceutical company. And there I got a lot of inputs from different doctors that were starting to develop new practices in what was called sublingual therapy. It was by the 80s, mid-80s perhaps. At that time in Spain we didn't believe in them. So basically we were bounded to conventional subcutaneous vaccines, but they started to say that it was working. So I started to talk with them to learn how they were doing that practice. And actually, at the end, it was pretty obvious that the system worked. And our company in Spain, by that time, developed a sublingual drop-based vaccine. That was the first sublingual vaccine. It was in Abelló by that time. Then later, when we were in the EAACI group, the process repeated again. So the Danish part didn't believe in sublingual, and then they have to gain trust that the system was working. At the same time, there were other companies, Stallergen mainly, that started to develop a similar vaccine, and there was a kind of confrontations with the doses and so on. At some point of time, I thought, okay, if I join all the pieces of information that I have got, then I say, well, I think first that sublingual therapy only works through the oral mucosa. We don't know why, but it seems that swallowing is not having any effect. So if I would like to improve or to design a better sublingual product, then perhaps I should think on a different kind of formulation, a formulation that would allow a really high local concentration. And then, by chance, I was talking with a friend, and it was a girl, and she suffered from pain in the back, I think, and she was prescribed with a drug that was Feldene, that is an anti-inflammatory drug, but the formulation was a kind of fast-dissolving tablet. It was the first time that I saw that. It was Feldene Flash, and I say, oh, this formulation would be perfect for the idea I want to have. And then I started to contact with the manufacturer, who is manufacturing that pill for you, and so on. And it was a UK-based company called Scherer by that time, and we contacted and started discussion and so on. So that's more or less the origin of the idea of the tablet formulation. But once I have that idea, then I have to make it progress in the company, and that is not easy. So I think it was coincident. Then came a person in research area that was Torbjörn Bjerke, and he came from Astra, and he thought the idea was a good one, and it started all. And that's a brief summary of that.
I mean, it's interesting that, you're very cautious as a scientist, but at the same time, serendipity or coincidence plays a part. Does that happen very often in your world and the world of scientists?
In most of the times, I think. I mean, if you think that you see it and the ideas, and then you read many papers and say, oh, I got a perfect idea, that's not the case normally. Normally, my experience at least is that you have to listen, because in reality, for instance, in my case, I'm a basic researcher, so I have to listen clinicians and I have to understand their problems, because if not, one of the normal problems is that the basic scientists try to solve problems that are not really existing. So they invent a problem, they have a wonderful theory, and they do an experimental work that is adding no value at the end. So you have first to identify the problems and then think, well, if this is a problem, might be how we could solve by doing something. what kind of things. And then you should really double check that before betting a lot of money in trying to develop something.
So you won the Paul Ehrlich Award. How do you feel about having received such an award?
Well, I was really surprised when I received the news, and what I did first is thinking about all the people that make that possible. And I remember I started to say thanks to many people that allow me to do things, for instance, in the company, because I'm a kind of free thinker or something like that. Then, of course, the people that has accompanied me during many years in research projects, in the academia, clinical groups, and so on. And that's honestly, that is the first thing that I thought. And well, you never know when you are walking, you don't know where you are heading. But then if you look back and you say, well, I have walked and it has been appreciated by people. No, that is the kind of feeling I have with that.
So what would you say EAACI has delivered to your career, and what have you contributed to EAACI, would you say?
Yeah, I think EAACI has provided a kind of network, a place of meeting with many people, many cultures, and so on. I have developed my career always in an international context. So I was part of a multinational company, and there I had the opportunity of having access to many different cultures and way of practicing, and at the same time that the company grew by acquiring companies from many different countries. So and I had projects with China, with US, with France, with Italy, with Spain. And in that context, EAACI represents something similar. So I participated in European projects. I have a lot of friends in different European, and that is great, because when I left my company and joined the academia, then I had already a huge network.
Were you aware that you were creating a network at that time? Because a lot of young people especially think that the quality of the work is the only thing that matters, when in fact everybody who's reached this stage in your life look back and go, wow, it was actually something else. It was about the connections and the network that you've built up over the years?
No, obviously by that time I was not aware. I was simply doing what I had to do. But it's funny that you asked that, because now I am in the academia, but I have all the background in a company. And there, you know that I remember we had a lot of boring courses of leaderships and communication and so on. And now I think I'm taking advantage of those courses. So now I have a team of young, motivated people. And then I transmit them that they need, of course, to perfectly speak in English, but they need to come to the congresses, to join the junior members section, to participate in all the activities, and to create their own networks. And I think that they can see clearly that one of our success reason is because of our network. So we are collaborating with, I don't know, 20 clinical groups worldwide or something like that from the academia, no? That is.
Well, thank you very much and congratulations.
Yeah, welcome.